word of warning. This video is going to be a little bit, you can't play it in front of your parents or your family or your brothers, your little brothers and sisters, put it that way. So go and turn the volume down, go somewhere private, listen to it in your car, all right? Because we're going to really be getting into it today. One of the brothers in my private mastermind, he sends me a DM. He says to me, Mahdi, alhamdulillah, I've just gotten married, 4 weeks into the program, alhamdulillah. Just gotten married, but I have a problem. I said, what's your problem, bro? He said to me, I can't keep my member up for long enough without it shrinking again. He can't keep his private part up long enough. I go through the regular questions like a doctor, bruv. Do you watch porn? No. Do you smoke weed? No. Do you have a masturbation addiction? No. No. Healthy brother, doesn't watch porn, doesn't masturbate, doesn't consume weed. These are all known member killers. And yet he was having issues, despite being a healthy young man in his prime, keeping his member up for long enough in order to be able to complete the act of intimacy with his newlywed wife. I said to him the following: you don't have erectile dysfunction, my friend. You have psychological erectile dysfunction, which in your case is very easy to overcome. And this brings me on to the first point. In fact, let me just tell you what I told him before I tell you what the first point is. And I explained to him, all right, Akhi, let's just imagine his name is Abdullah for the purpose of this video. His name is not Abdullah, but for the purpose of this video, he's Abdullah. I said to him, bro, you don't have a physical problem. You definitely don't need supplements. You have a psychological problem, so this is what I want you to do. You are psyching yourself out before the act of intimacy. You so badly want to perform and give her the night of her life that you're not giving her any night at all. And this is causing you to suffer from anxiety, which takes away from your ability to be present in the moment of intimacy. And as a result of that, all the blood is going to your brain instead of to your private part. This is what I want you to do. Your goal, the next time you're intimate with your woman, is to climax. Irrespective of how long the act of intimacy is even if you are the 60-second man, I don't care. And the reason for this is we need to build your confidence back up that you are actually able to be intimate with your woman, even if it is 60 seconds. 60 seconds is 60 seconds longer than what you're doing right now. No harm in being the 60-second man if you are currently the 0-second man. He said to me, okay, how do I do that? Because I can't keep it up long enough to be able to put it inside her. I'm sorry to be crude, but if you haven't gone and did what I told you at the beginning of this video, shame on you. I said to him, you do the following. The next time you're intimate with your woman, I want you to take your member, your private part, and even if it is not up, even if it is soft, I want you to put it in her mouth. Let her do what she needs to do. Your member will automatically respond. This is because the mouth is extremely, it has a tongue, the tongue first of all, which is, and do I need to explain this? The moistness of the tongue, the feel of it on the member. It has a great stimulatory, if there is such a word, effect on the member, and you are guaranteed to go up, considering all the variables he shared with me. Okay, he doesn't have any physical problems at all, doesn't consume porn, etc. I said, you will go up. Once you've gone up, okay, you remove it from her mouth, and I want you to put your member inside her body as quickly as possible. And I want you to reach the point of climax for yourself as quickly as possible too. Don't worry about giving her a good time. Don't worry about her climaxing. Forget all that. I want you to reach the moment of climax as quickly as possible and to climax, to orgasm, to come inside of her. And that's it. That's your job until me and you speak next time. But what about Mahdi if she's not satisfying and so on? I said, bro, don't worry about that. I'm going to get you to that. But right now, I can't get you there. I need to fix what's up here. He did that. He messages me back. Mahdi, it worked. Thank you very much. I said, of course it worked. I told you. Like, why wouldn't it work? Duh. What do I do now? I said to him, I want you to continue building your confidence up with a couple more sessions in this manner. Just so that you can rewire your brain and assure yourself that you don't have a physical problem and that it's all mental. Once you have done this and you have been able to climax a couple of times, a few times inside of her without any issues, you've gone through the process that I've shared with you, then you can start thinking about extending the session, concerning yourself with her satisfaction and things of this nature. And lo and behold, he gets back to me. He didn't actually even get back to me. This is the funny thing. When I solve people's problems, they don't even get back to me, bro. They only message me when they have a problem. I had to reach back out to him. I was like, yo, bro, did he solve the issue? He was like, yeah, bro, alhamdulillah, no problems now. I was like, okay, well, you could have told me. And this brings me on to point number 1 for stronger and longer lasting member. For a stronger and longer lasting member. And that is, when you're newly married, you're a virgin man, and you're about to be intimate with your woman for the first time or for the first few times, do not concern yourself with being some next stallion. Do not concern yourself with putting on a show like Chad, Tyrone or Mahdi would do. This is not of your concern. Your concern is to just build your confidence up with your woman. And if you're a virgin man, you are likely with a virgin woman too. And if you are not, that's a whole separate discussion and a video for another time. Certainly, the pressure's on. But if you're a virgin man, you are probably with a virgin woman too. So whilst you may be the minute man and you may climax quickly, she's not going to really know what, she might be like, oh, is that quick? She might have a couple of those thoughts going through her head, but she doesn't have a standard to compare against. And with time, you will both accustom yourselves to each other. Your anxiety will diminish because now you're familiarizing yourself with her body and her as a person. And then eventually you can think about going on longer and trying more, exploring different maneuvers and whatever else. Number 1, do not worry about being the 60-second man, the minute man when you are newly married. It's okay. And if you want to apply for my private mastermind, go and hit that link in the description underneath this video. Watch the video there, and me or a member of my team will reach out to you to see if you're a good fit for the mastermind, inshallah. Now, the rest of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some what you may consider as unconventional tips for a stronger and longer lasting member, but which are absolutely effective and very much in line with your deen, your religion as a Muslim man as well. Which brings me swiftly on to the second point, which is lower your gaze. You might think, all right, Mahdi, yeah, cliche, lower your gaze. I get it. No, lowering your gaze by extension gives you a stronger and longer lasting member. By extension, no pun intended. How, you may ask? Let me tell you a story. I worked in Saudi Arabia in 2013, 2014. For that year, it was the first time that I had been away from my wife and children, from my family. First time I had lived alone as a bachelor. All of my life up until then, from the age of 16 to 23, I had always had a halal outlet. So now suddenly I was a bachelor. When I got to Saudi Arabia at that time, the situation is slightly different now, but at that time, you didn't see women. Like when I tell you you don't see women, you didn't see women. All you would see is niqab, eyes through the niqab, and hands, maybe. Sometimes feet if they were wearing slippers. But for the most part, you were just seeing black. Even in the malls, the mannequins, or not the mannequins, the models, the printed models, the women were blurred. They're not blurred anymore. I just came back from Saudi recently. They're not blurred anymore. Even in Medina, they're not blurred. I was shocked. I was like, yo, they used to blur this stuff. They're not blurring it anymore. That's a separate discussion. But they were blurred, so you didn't see women. I spent 4 months in Saudi Arabia before I was granted leave to be able to come back to my home country of the UK to visit my family. I got my flight from Medina. It was a transit flight, stopping in Egypt first and then from Egypt to the UK. I will never forget the following experience that I experienced as I got off of that plane in Egypt for my transit, 6-hour transit in Cairo. I get off the plane and I enter into the airport, and all of a sudden my eyes are overwhelmed with pictures of women modeling perfumes, the normal type of stuff that you would see in an airport that you've probably become desensitized to. It was like a slap in the face with a fish. Like, my guy down there was just like, bing, 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 bing. It was a madness. I couldn't believe it. It was a very strong experience. The only other time that I had experienced something even remotely similar to that was when I had done i'tikaf in the masjid, spending the last 10 days of Ramadan in the masjid, and then come out after those 10 days and then seeing women all of a sudden. It's a bit of a shock. If you've done i'tikaf in the masjid, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this was like that for 4 months. And in that moment, I realized the power of lowering your gaze. When you're in a country like Saudi, back then anyway, like much of the lowering your gaze job is kind of done for you. But when you live in the West, you run the risk of becoming desensitized down below. Let's use an extreme example. If you know anything about porn, you know that eventually it can fry your dopamine receptors, fry your brain, and make it almost impossible for you to be intimate with your woman, for you to be able to get a strong and long-lasting erection, simply because you have accustomed your brain to watching acts of madness that are not in line with reality, and certainly not what your woman looks like or is able to do for that matter. So when you go to be intimate with your woman, Jono down below doesn't respond. Ba'alam doesn't respond because he can't. He needs to see the madness in order for him to respond. When you are in the habit of not lowering your gaze, you are by extension making it more difficult for yourself to be able to become aroused once you are intimate with your woman. You could say a more subtle variation of the impact that porn has on your brain. Not lowering your gaze has a similar or albeit lesser impact on your brain and your ability to become aroused by your woman once you are intimate with her, and by extension, your ability to have a strong and long-lasting member. So lower your gaze, because not only is it important for your akhirah, but lo and behold, it's important for your dunya too. Number 3, avoid to the best of your ability masturbation. And I say best of your ability because there is some difference of opinion amongst the scholars that if you fear you're on the verge of haram, you're on the brink of about to commit haram, then maybe it is permissible in that situation. That's not for me. That's not for me to get into. That's out of my wheelhouse. However, I will give you the practical benefits of avoiding masturbation. A while ago, Larry Wheels, who's a bodybuilder / powerlifter, and I have to give him credit, he's got millions of subscribers on YouTube, and I have to give him credit where credit is due, because he's always been very candid and open about everything in his life, for better or for worse. Steroid use, impact on sexual performance, health markers, all sorts. And he candidly came out a while back, although it was quite cringe to watch, I can't lie, about his ongoing problem with paying for watching porn, first of all, but paying for escorts or something of that nature. And he mentioned the impact that it has on his member. And then he went into talking about the gorilla grip problem. And I think he was spending like, I don't want to say for sure because I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was 50 grand a month on, I forget the term. Let me know in the comments what the term is used to describe these sites that he was visiting. If you know which video I'm talking about, put it down in the comments below. And he mentioned the impact that his gorilla grip, and he has a very strong grip, one of the strongest grips in the world, had on his member, in that he was unable to be able to sustain a strong and long-lasting erection when intimate with his then girlfriend at the time, because he had accustomed his member to the gorilla grip. And no female private part is as tight as your grip, especially if you become strong and you get stronger, your grip will get stronger by default. If you start to accustom your member to that level of friction when you are trying to climax an orgasm, you will physically not be able to sustain an erection when you're being intimate with your woman. There we have not just an akhirah benefit, a next life benefit of abstaining and avoiding masturbation, but also a dunyawi, a worldly benefit of abstaining and staying away from masturbation to the very best of your ability, to my single brothers out there. And last but not least, and this is something that I personally place great importance on, is your cardiovascular health. You should be doing cardio just for good health. Like big man thing. You want a healthy heart, especially if you're of South Asian descent or Arab descent, and high blood pressure and diabetes and all of that stuff runs rampant in our genes. You know how it is. Cardiovascular health is of the utmost importance. However, there is also a ba'alam benefit for strong cardiovascular fitness, and that is obesity, which is obviously connected to a lack of cardiovascular health, or when you're just unfit, obese, overweight. The more obese you become, the more clogged your capillaries become. You know this. The capillaries that get clogged first, earliest, when you are overweight or obese, are the smallest ones. And guess what? It is the smallest capillaries that are responsible for shunting blood to your member. You want a strong and long-lasting member, you better make damn sure that you're in that 9 to 15% body fat range. 8 to 15 maybe. You don't want to really be going below 8%. I hover around 9 to 11% myself. And you don't want to be too much above 15% either. You want to be in and around that range, because if you don't, that cumulative buildup of fat will first affect your member, and by extension your ability of the capillaries in that region to shunt blood to your private part and help you to sustain a strong and long-lasting member. Now, I do appreciate that this was a kind of difficult video to listen to, and that's why I gave you that disclaimer at the beginning. So I don't want to be hearing in the comments, oh brother, have some shame. Inna Allah la yastahi min al-haq. Believe me, I thought about this before I took this video. Verily, Allah does not shy away from the truth. And these are real problems that real men are suffering from. And you know what? If you appreciated this video and you really enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. You can comment from an anonymous account. I don't mind, but let me know so that the people can see, firstly and foremostly, so I can see that you might not appreciating this. Now, before you can concern yourself with a strong and long-lasting member, you want to be able to actually have a sister in the lineup, in the firing line for you to be able to marry in the first instance. And one question I am commonly asked is, Mahdi, when I'm talking to a sister for the purpose of marriage, if I have multiple candidates that I'm considering, should I talk to just one at a time, or should I talk to multiple sisters at a time? The answer to this is critical in your ability to be able to secure any single one of them. I created a video on that. You can watch it right here.